I just checked the events planned at Lit Cigar Lounge, so I'm planning a lot of time there. Top of the line cigars, premium whiskey. Check out litstl.com and join me. Hey, and if we get hungry, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, just a few doors down. We can order from the menu, be at our table within minutes. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley and Lit Cigar Lounge, litstl.com. So I hear an out-of-towner asking someone, where's the best place to eat? Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL, the 3 Martini Lunch, everybody. Jamie Allman here and Ashland there, and, you know, I'm going to say it. I'm going to go ahead and say it, and it's going to sound terrible, but that's the way it is. I think I know now where I misplaced a dish towel, the one that hangs over the refrigerator, the freezer handle. You put it over the freezer handle, can't find it. It turns out it's on this dude's head sitting with President Trump right now. I told you. Boom. I'm telling you, these guys, I love it how they will literally, like, they don't have any, like, fancy design or anything. They just put, like, this checkered thing over their head and they hang loose, It's kind of like, let's check in, by the way, at the White House and see what President Trump is talking about. Earlier, with the Epstein files and the release happening later on today, and we'll see how it all goes. But let's check in with President Trump, shall we?
Before I leave office, we'll have another dinner because we'll have it ready long before I leave office, and it's going to be beautiful. It's a very popular thing what we're doing. And by the way, no government funds. It's all put up. Private money, all private money. And in the case, I think it's there's
talking
a
about the ballroom
on foreigners. Otherwise, I could have asked you just for a check, okay? But there's a restriction. These are all private individuals that put up a lot of money to build the ballroom. Not one penny is being used from the federal government.
And by the way, how come he has to say this again? You know what I mean? Like somebody probably asked him about the ballroom. It's like, dudes, nobody's paying for the ballroom. The CBS News and all these guys had an orgy of love for Barack Obama's $300 million taxpayer-funded renovation, and they're flipping out even harder over a ballroom that isn't being paid for by any tax dollars at all. What about the sanctity of the White House? Well, ask Bill Clinton about the sanctity of the White House.
Crown Prince MBS the 40-year-old next king of Saudi Arabia there in the Oval Office.
Okay, so you get the picture there. Anyway, happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. And you could kind of tell that winter's on the way. It's kind of a nice little day today because it's warm and a little rainy. Lots of lightning this morning and last night and everything else. And and thunder, maybe a little thunder. And I'll never forget when the kids were little, when I was little, it was always, hey, what's thunder? And my mom, I'll never forget this. She told me that it was the Angels bowling. Of course, my mom was on a bowling team, so of course she would say that. But I really, honestly, there was a time, like a few minutes of my childhood, where I really kind of thought, that makes all the sense in the world that the Angels are up there bowling. I think that's really cool. And it gave me a real nice visual with the Angels bowling. And then I wound up having my own children and, why, Daddy, what is thunder and rain and everything else? It's like, well, it's God is crying, probably over something you did. That was really well. Yeah. Anyway, you can tell it's wintertime because have you guys noticed maybe on your front lawn or whatever, all the birds are everywhere. And so where I live, it's almost like an Alfred Hitchcock movie practically. And so the birds are everywhere. And then I looked it up because unlike any other day, they're out everywhere today and looks like they're eating. And so I just kind of asked my phone. I said, hey, what is that? What's going on? And the explanation was that they're shoring up for the wintertime. So they're going through this period of time where they're getting to be almost twice the size they were in the summertime. Some of them are going south. Some of them are, and by fattening up and, start just gorging themselves, they're about to fly south because they know what's coming now. Like before, like 3 weeks ago when it was a little cold and whatever, the birds were like, man, this isn't time yet, whatever. But now you can tell that even the birds are like, okay, we're about to get into some Thanksgiving, Christmas, winter, and this is it. And so they're all just eating like crazy, so that some of them flying south don't have to stop because they don't have to pull off to McDonald's on their way down south, so they can just keep going and not have to stop and eat. And I thought that was pretty fascinating. I was wondering because it just happens like a couple of days, and then boom, they're gone. All right, wanted to follow up on this because we all have the Charlie Kirk assassination still is fresh in our minds. I've never seen the tape of the assassination, and I've never, it's not like I haven't been in this business for 40 years and been through everything, pretty much seen everything. Even I remember never forgetting going to when I was at first at Channel 4 and working the weekends, and we basically arrived at this murder scene before even the police did, and into the apartment, and it was blood all over. I mean, I never forgot that, and it was after the ambulance had picked them up and everything else, but before detectives have made it in. But yeah, so I've seen it all, but for some reason I could not watch that video of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and to this day have not seen that video. So anyway, but it's still fresh in our minds. And there was a time when there were people who were talking about hand signals and things like that his security team was doing, and some people who still don't think it was this guy. There just are a lot of people who have different theories on what's going on. Even Doug Giles, who has been pretty deep in on his suspicion that this was a bigger deal and more of a conspiracy. I really, when people bring stuff like that up, I don't dismiss anybody's viewpoints on this, because you all know what has happened in the past. Well, that's just a conspiracy theory. Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. And it all turns out absolutely right. So people, I'm not part of that group where somebody says something. I mean, there are some things they say that are really kind of nutty. Like Candace Owens tends to do a lot of that. But generally, if somebody has an idea or a theory about something, I rarely dismiss it. I'll listen to it and everything else. Anyway, there were these rumored hand signals that Charlie Kirk's team were allegedly using during this time. But now we have Charlie Kirk's former head of security. And there's a lot of footage out there, you might have seen it, where there's some degree of hand signals on the part of the security team, and people have thought of them as being suspicious. But Brian Harpool is the former head of security for Charlie Kirk, and he went on this podcast yesterday to speak about the hand signals, and this is how it went down.
Speak to this one. You're using hand signals, or if you were to use hand signals, and those are an option, especially like under MVG or things like that. One, are those hand signals normal ones that you would see during normal gesticulation? Or those definitive hand signals? Mm-hmm. They're definitive, so that they can't be confused with a guy scratching ass. Mm-hmm. And so that's the first one. The second one is that hand signal. When a bubble team is there, we're not using hand signals. Sniper details, absolutely. Why? Because you can see that. Are we looking around at each other looking for hand signals? Mm. We're looking at in the front in our area of responsibility. If we needed to relay a message, then we would, hey, right here on comms. We're notorious for, if I need to get somebody's attention on the team, I'm not going to sit there and use a hand signal if he's in my line of sight. I'm just going to go like that. He's going to look up and I'm going to go. Mm-hmm.
At that point, what he did was he had a little, like a flashlight thing, and just would pick up the light and shine it, and then boom, put it back down again. So
if I looked up and did a hand signal on the team and did that or that, he's going to look at me like, so what do you want me to do then? Mm-hmm. Right. So for that, that's not good communication.
So basically, this guy went on to say that if anybody on his team was making a signal to other guards, they would instantly look to him for instruction regarding what to do next, which he says never happened prior to the shooting. So, he said, I couldn't believe it when I first saw all these accusers focus on this one guy, Frank Turek, for simply adjusting his hat. So, I think it's part of it is that people certainly have situations where, we're all looking for answers. You can hardly blame people for sometimes just wanting to find answers where sometimes perhaps there are none. But this guy's basically saying, no, we would not communicate that way. I would have, if I had something to say to somebody, I'd have like a flashlight or whatever. But this idea that somehow the Charlie Kirk assassination was in some way, shape, or form an inside job is, I think, easily debunked, to tell you the truth. So
just the guitar, okay, cool.
Yeah. Shocking information coming from New York.
This was all you, none of it me. You put your hands on my body and told me.
Which reminds us how the political establishments have made Americans second-class citizens to migrants and immigrants, and it shouldn't be that way. It's happening in Canada also. And some really super, not so surprising information coming from experts who are starting to count all the attendance from the baseball games, and the Cardinals are sucking wind, and probably deservedly so. This is the 3 Martini Lunch, people. Common Sense Radio. The Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I was too strong. You were trembling. You couldn't handle the hot heat rising. Baby, I'm
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
I had a wonderful conversation the other night with Richard Winter, and Richard Winter is more than Richard Newstetter. Richard Winter is his buddy from Garden View Care Centers. What am I talking about? Anyway, with Richard Newstetter. And Richard is more than just the lifelong owner of Newstetter's Fine Jewelry and the legendary family-run operation of Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. Richard is also kind of one of my spiritual gurus, you know. And every time we talk, it's less about the jewelry and the store and the people and the radio station and all that kind of stuff. And so much of it is about faith and everything else. He always has something new to convey to me. And a lot of that faith and a lot of that love of God and love of his family is intertwined, is infused into Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. Again, anybody can sell jewelry, and plenty of people do. But not everybody can be the Newstetters. Not everybody can be the ones that say God is welcome here above the door, who are very open about their love of country and love of God. But again, that shouldn't be the reason why you go to Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. That's just a reason why you know you can trust them, because as much as they have faith in God, they also have faith in their business and their expertise. And there are a lot of people out there who are salespeople. They are not jewelers. That's not the case with Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. Diana is there. She's got a compartment right there where she's kind of the person you can walk into and say, what's hot these days? What would my wife love? And she'd tell you maybe the stacker rings, which are all the rage now. Ask about them at wowdiamonds.com. You can also see them there, Doherty Ferry in Big Bend. But she'll be the person that can coach you. If you're the guy, and if you're the gal, tell you what's hot, what's new, all this kind of stuff. And she'll make you a king or a queen for $250. I mean, it's just that simple. So when it comes to what Newstetter's Fine Jewelry would do for you, not only do you have this legendary, godly, family-run operation where you're walking in there and you can feel the warmth and you can feel the expertise. They've got the Bulova watches there and the Frank Sinatra line of the Bulova watch. They have the gold, which is hot. It's back hot. It used to be where people are like, I don't wear gold. That's like so 80s. Not anymore. It's brand new. Don't forget about the diamonds. These are lab-grown diamonds or mine diamonds. Whatever you like, you're going to love them. And they've got them at great prices for you. Heading into Christmas, layaway is still cool. It's old school, and Newssetters has brought it back. They also have the wish list there. Everything that you need to kind of know without walking in the doors at wowdiamonds.com. But I encourage you to stop in and thank them for supporting free, common sense, conservative radio.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
St. Louis, it's here. The bigger than Black Friday at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, get the biggest dollars off savings of 2025. $330 off every window. $830 off every patio or entry door. Plus, you may have no payments and zero interest. Renewal by Anderson, unprecedented winner of the prestigious J.D. Power Award for customers 6 years in a row. Renewal by Anderson, full-service window and door replacement division of Anderson, a name you trusted for more than 122 years. $330 off every window, $830 off every patio or entry door. Schedule your consultation today at rbastl.com or call 877-WINDOWS, 877-WINDOWS. Renewal by Anderson, award-winning quality, bigger savings, smarter investment.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to News Talk STL on the app driving to work.
Download the News Talk STL app.
You got to get the News Talk STL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime.
News Talk STL right on my phone.
Anywhere.
I'm gonna take these rocks and turn them into diamonds. Sell them on the corner. Bring the money home to you. I work all day and set aside my pride. I'll beg, plead, and dance just as long as I provide.
Do you know there's a 2-ingredient recipe that's threatening Big Pharma's billion-dollar profit?
But I'll make sure we survive.
What's the quickest way to reduce leg swelling? Is it
going all in, gonna figure it out. It's what you do.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Going all in, and I'm starting right.
3 martini lunch, you people. Come on. Talking about guys at the Gemini Wealth Group. Jeff Portman yesterday. It's weird because like I don't think I'm ever going to retire. I don't think I'd really want to. Like I'd love to be able to do some of my projects and things, but I think I can do that anyway. I mean, I've got a son in college. I've got a daughter about to go to college. And Lily, who's 15, she'll soon to be turning 16. And she's going to school, high school. And then we'll go to college. So, but still, I have to kind of position, certain financial things and get everything together. And the Gemini Wealth Group's awesome, and Jeff's a great guy. I didn't know half the stuff he was telling me, but eventually when I get it all figured out, I'll let you know how it goes. That's why radio, I mean, if you're moderately good at it, you can do it your whole life if you stay healthy and do all that kind of stuff. So, in real estate, I guess you can do that too. And writing, So there's Jim Cox, my old friend, Jim Cox. Yeah, I knew Jim. Jim was a rock star over at KEZK. He was doing the news over there and running the gym every once in a while. It's so interesting that you would chime on to the Facebook page, Jim Cox, he is like the ultimate pro. So I used to basically, at times, I think I would fill in for Jim because he would go on vacation, but occasionally we would, I'd come in to promote something I was doing on Channel 4 or whatever. And so we would cross paths, but he's a groovy dude, Jim Cox. But I was just thinking, because news people, like Jim Cox had this velvety voice for the life of me. You guys ever hear this guy on the radio station here? I'm Keith Peters. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. I'm like, how did he do? No offense to the town hall people, but how did Keith Peters get a job as a news anchor? I mean, and I'm trying to figure out like how it occurred to Keith Peters to become a news anchor. You know what I mean? Like, did he one time talk to his dad? Hey, Dad, what do you think I should do for a living? I think you should be a news anchor, son. I mean, like, I've always wanted to do that. And I realize sometimes, like, don't make fun of the people on. It's like, I'm kidding, but it's kind of like the elephant in the room, you know? It's like you're listening to the news and like, hey, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. I'm like, dude, how are you doing that? But anyway, more power to you. Because if you could actually do that and still like be in radio and stuff, you gotta hand it to. I mean, that's an achievement to be able to do that. You know what it really means? It means that it's not about your looks. It's not about how you sound. It's about the content of your message. It's the Martin Luther King view of broadcasting. It's the content of your character. It's the content of your character. That's what I'm told. All right. Listen to this. This is crazy. This is in New York. And keep in mind that all around the country, this is happening to a larger extent. So what we're doing is we're taking in, even legally, immigrants to this country. And what we're doing after they come in here is we are subsidizing them because they're coming into this country, a lot of them, on green cards and things like that, and they are working for pennies. So a lot of them, because the corporations that have basically arranged this with the Republican Party and the Democrat Party to have this constant funnel of cheap labor, you know, all the jobs that the conservative Republicans all told you that Americans didn't want to do, and we're, you know, and then you have that other side of the people think we might bring in the next Einstein. It's like, oh, shut. But nonetheless, that's what. Well, it's old home week here. Glenn Wesley Wells is on too. Is it my birthday? No, I'm just kidding. Glenn's cool dude. I worked with him a long time in TV and beyond. So everybody's coming in. Anyway, it's a reunion. So they come in, and that's why this whole H-1B visa thing is such a scam, because they're handing them out like the CDLs. They're just handing them to people, and it's like a temp agency. And so they arrange it through the government, and then they say, hey, we're going to bring in, 10,000 Indians, and that's how they get here. People aren't just like knocking on the door and then getting a green card. They're being processed. They're being trafficked with the green card. So they come here, whether it be from Africa, India, or whatever. They come here. They're basically a subculture of slaves. And therefore, what happens when you're getting slave wages from the corporation that gave handsomely to the Republican Party or the Democrat Party? Well, they need food stamps, EBT cards. They need subsidized housing, all that kind of stuff. What else? Medicaid, everything. Which is why when you wind up with the rolls, with the rolls of people on Medicaid or on food stamps or subsidized housing or other forms of welfare or whatever, a large percentage of them are foreign-born people. And, it's like we now, though, have this whole other we're behind. We're behind the aircraft, as they say. It's kind of like when you're behind the aircraft, basically what it means is that you're flying, but you're losing control. You're losing control over like what's going on because you were looking over here and you didn't plan for this, and suddenly you're trying to adjust the stuff in the cockpit to make up for the stuff that you missed, and then suddenly you're losing track of your altitude and your speed, and that's classic behind the aircraft right before you crash. So you have to ultimately get ahead of it. We're so behind the aircraft, so to speak, when it comes to immigration, not only legal immigration, but illegal immigration as well. We are way behind. So it's not only incumbent upon us to now start chasing around these rapey Venezuelans and murderous Ecuadorians Now we have to deal with a whole nother problem that has been left to our future generation by the Republican and by the Democrat Party. I mean, to act like this whole thing regarding immigration has always been some kind of liberal Democrat thing is for us to deny the reality. So all you have to do is go back in time and look at the royal Bush family and the Cheneys and all those other clowns who were keeping our borders open at the same time, helping out their wealthy corporate buddies with cheap labor. Democrats were doing the same thing. That's why when you get right down to it, the Uniparty has basically left us with a mess that I'm not quite sure we're going to be able to clean up anytime soon. Because after we get out the scum, we have to deal with the people who are here basically legally, but sapping every ounce of blood from this country because they're here and our politicians arranged for them to be here, paid them pennies, and now you and I are working a certain portion of our day every day to subsidize the lives of people who weren't born here. And that's just the truth. That's just not some Klan version of reality here. That's the truth. No one can refute it. It is provably true. And so until we get to the bottom of this, and one of the things, and this is from Stephen Miller, and this is just New York, but this is everywhere around the country. So it turns out that 40% of rent-controlled New York City housing is occupied by migrants.
40% of the population of rent-controlled housing in New York City are foreign-born. Think about that. In one of the largest metropolitan areas in the world, 40% of rent-controlled properties are being lived in by people who weren't even born in the country. What kind of system is this? We bring in people from foreign countries, and then we pay to lower the cost of their housing, while people who were born here have to pay higher prices. So when President Trump is reducing net migration, that is what's going to ultimately, along with all these other steps, deregulation, historic tax cuts, going to bring down the cost of housing.
Now you know why Democrats and Republicans wanted to kill Donald Trump, and still do. Because Donald Trump is changing the way we do business here. And Donald Trump has been able to reveal the scam that has been pulled on Americans under the guise of, oh, we're a melting pot. We're a this, we're a that. And nobody is against diversity or anything like that. And that's a bull crappy way to respond. It's passive aggressive. It's designed to keep you quiet about it. It's designed to shut you up and make you feel guilty about it. And nobody does that better than the political structures and the news media. And so the minute you start talking in the way that I'm talking, for instance, you're branded as a xenophobe and a racist and everything else. And so if we can just figure out a way where if the number of people who support this scandal and this scam is really that high, then let them go ahead and opt in on a program where they can dedicate a certain amount of their paycheck and their taxes to the subsidizing of the immigrants that they love having here. And the rest of us can opt out. We can check a little box here and say, no, I don't want to contribute to this. And then we'll see how long that lasts. So, because I'll tell you one thing, what's going to happen is it's bad enough that we're paying for it. But when you realize that your children are on the hook for this, they have the fully paid subscription to this nonsense that the Democrat and Republican parties have pushed on us over the last 3 decades or so, and now we're stuck cleaning it up. And the sad thing is, we're not as stuck cleaning this up as our children are going to be. So I know that my kids, for the rest of their lives, are going to be working a certain portion of their day and indeed their week just to pay for the melting pot wet dream that was laid on us by the Uniparty and beyond. And it's not acceptable. It's not tolerable. And something needs to be done about it. And unfortunately, man, this whole scam has such deep roots right now. It's going to be really hard to finally get rid of this. And whether or not the Trump Make America Great Again movement will be able to sustain a pattern of gradual dismantling of this scandal, I don't know. I'm hoping that'll happen. And it's going to take smaller steps like the rolling back of the H-1B visa program. And when the visas expire, these people leave. And that, or you become citizens or you leave. And that's pretty much it. You become citizens at the courthouse like everybody else, or you go. And that's pretty much it. And then those who want to become citizens can, and those who don't will leave. That's just going to have to be the way it goes, and that's how we're going to do it. But it was bad. It's bad enough that, and I'll tell you this really quickly, and then I'll move on. But you guys have heard my story about the federal income tax and what a complete and total scam the federal income tax is. It came, of course, quite accidentally on a bluff by the Republicans in hopes of staving off this idea that there would be an income tax, because the Democrats and all the liberals, they really wanted one, because all the old Christian biddies were wanting prohibition because their husbands were drunk, probably because they couldn't put up with them on a daily basis. So they wanted to ban alcohol. And the problem with that was that alcohol and tobacco were the main ways, taxing them were the main ways the federal government funded itself. And the states collected the taxes because the founding fathers never planned for a direct income tax, a direct tax on income. The British government did it just a little bit, and we shot musket balls at them. So, and we're 100 times more oppressed than we were under the British government right now. But anyway, so I said, well, what are we going to do? And so Taft and his crew were all like, well, let's go ahead and put it as a constitutional amendment, because in 1892, the Supreme Court knocked it down, said it was unconstitutional. So Taft and his boys were like, let's just do a constitutional amendment. There's no way it's going to be ratified by all the states that would allow for an income tax, right? There's no way it's going to be ratified. So let's just go do it. And then once it is not ratified, these idiots will never talk about a federal income tax again. Well, guess what? It was ratified. I still don't believe it was fully ratified, but that's water under the bridge now. It was ratified. So they gambled and lost. Now suddenly we had a federal income tax, and we still got prohibition. That's why we got prohibition, because the federal government didn't need to fight it anymore, because they were getting money from people's paychecks. They didn't need money from booze, so screw it. We'll just go ahead and make the old biddies happy and do prohibition. But anyway, then at that time, by the time 1924 rolled around, 1924, about 10 years after the federal income tax, Coolidge came out and said, you guys realize you're growing this federal government now, and now what's happening is people are working a certain portion of their week just to fund the federal government. Well, guess what? 2025, he was right at the time, and because we got to get rid of spending on the cool. But the problem is then that gave all the politicians a way to be able to horse trade tax breaks and tax cuts and things like that, and fund all their largesse and all their dreams and everything else. And so they had a little playground to play around with, not to mention the ability to give people tax breaks, just to make them happy. And so the politicians loved the federal income tax, now to the point where they were able to when you fast forward, to create programs that are paid for with federal tax dollars that are helping people and doing all that kind of stuff. And none of what is happening right now would be going on if we didn't have the federal income tax. If that was not there, half the stuff we're now having to dismantle and everything else would be gone. So there's your history lesson. It's just, but we could do it. We could change it.
Staring at the shelf with 100 boxes and I need some help. They all look the same. Each seem to claim that they're better than the other.
Just got to get politicians there to do it.
Second thought, I don't need another answer to a phony problem. Because everywhere I go, everything I see, everything is sold to me.
You have to also let them know what they're doing.
It's made just for you. Now I hope you don't.
If you're onto their game,
It's made from the man with the cash in hand for you to buy into.
So you need to make sure they listen to the Allman Report so they know that we know.
However long that may take, it won't be long for the next come along.
That they're not kidding anybody. We're on to them. And we're going to tell everybody what we know. Spread it far and thin. So what you learned here today, I want you to repeat it 5 times today. Or just tell them to listen to the download of the podcast or whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. NewsTalkSTL.com is where you're going to find it. So clip it and save it and send it. This is Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I love Brian Amon over there at O'Fallon Family Floors. Brian comes from a history of working hard in the flooring business. And the fact of the matter is, he decided, I can do this on my own. So he created O'Fallon Family Flooring. And he said, I can do this on my own, and I can do it better than anybody can do it in the flooring industry. And guess what? He has definitely done that. This guy has a showroom there off of Highway K with his team there that has more variety than anybody has in the land. You're like, even Home Depot? Even Home Depot. Even Lowe's? Even Lowe's. Absolutely. And so you go in there and you're going to see multiple different kinds of the vinyl tiling, the wooden plank, the carpeting. I mean, you name it. Variety is king there. Price is great. He's not going to be undersold. And I've worked with him on a couple of projects with some people who bought homes through my real estate operation, and he has always made them super happy, not only in price, but also in quality of installation. He's got installers who are lifelong, like it's in the family, like their dads were installers. He knows what's going on here. Mascot is a lion because of pride. That's on the van, where he will come. He'll come to your house with the van and also be able to show you all kinds of remnants, anything you choose. Check it out at O'FallonFamilyFloors.com. That's O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special: personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
There is an $82 million shortfall in St. Louis County's budget. David Stokes of Show Me will tell us what crazy ideas Sam Page has concocted at 420.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. This is what's happening.
What New Yorkers are looking for is an era of consistency.
It's common sense or communism.
The actual policies don't have a lot of support.
We are not the crazy ones.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
I'm not here to infuriate you. I'm here to make you happy. But sometimes happiness comes from fighting for what you believe in and knowing what's up. And here's what's up. So, I just talked about how the federal government seemingly has plenty of money for people who aren't even born here, or people who don't care to work, or people who don't care to be part of the fabric of our society or do whatever. And so you have somebody like President Trump come in, and then he imposes these tariffs to level the playing field for people who've had, for a manufacturing industry that was also purposely destroyed by the Republican and Democrat Party, So he comes in with the tariffs, and guess what happens? Suddenly he says, hey, wow, we got a lot of money coming into the federal government from these tariffs. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to give $2,000 to every family. We're going to share the money we're getting. Well, guess what? The Republicans and the Democrats in Congress don't want to do that. They don't want to give that back to you. They want to use it to pay down the debt they rung up. I'm not kidding you. Steve Scalise, who's supposedly, one of our heroes or whatever, because he got shot or something, answers the question from Peter Ducey about, well, so what's going to happen with the money here?
For the $2,000 checks, they just need your permission in Congress. Are we going to see a vote for these checks?
Well, there's a robust debate over what's going to happen with the tariff revenue. One of the things.
Yeah, and so that's what we get, right? That's what we get. We get these harumphing politicians talking about, well, there's a robust debate going on. It's like there shouldn't be 1 ounce of debate over this. Oh, it's a robust debate. It's like, come on, dude.
Peter is getting an actual quantification of it, exactly how much money has come in from tariffs. A lot of us don't think it's going to be long-term because you see President Trump reaching new trade agreements so that we have lower tariffs or ultimately zero tariffs is the goal, because you get a fair trade with countries that never used to treat us fairly. So many countries took advantage of us. President Trump finally has those countries treating us fairly. So one point of a lot of discussion was to use that tariff revenue to reduce the deficit. And I think everybody would agree reducing the deficit lowers interest rates.
So we're gonna use it to pay off the debt that we as the Uniparty rung up because of our greed and because of the favors we all do to our pals and because of our spending, and also because we're spending so much of American tax dollars to subsidize non-American born people in this country.
It lowers inflation, taking all of that money that Washington borrows off the table and no longer borrowing hundreds of billions of dollars in this case would actually be good for the entire economy.
Yeah. So here you go. So when it comes time for you to get like even $2,000 back Scalise and the rest of the gang going, well, I don't know about that. I don't think we're going to do that. We're going to use it to pay our debt down. You know what that's like? That's like me telling my kids, hey, listen, you're not going to have dinner tonight because I want to pay off my credit card that I used to buy the 32-inch television. So you're not going to eat tonight. $2,000 a family. Now imagine the kinds of the people who $2,000 would mean everything to them. But when it comes time for the government to find out, hey, you guys have a ton of money. Look, you have this big windfall from President Trump. You're gonna give it back to the people. Well, I don't think so. We do have other things that we need to spend it on. So there's your answer. Even Steve Scalise doesn't care about you. President Trump is doing so many things that are revealing the truth about so many different people. It's pretty amazing. Hey, the Cardinals, their attendance numbers, ooh, baby, not so great.
Hey, Mike Ferguson here, and for nearly 40 years, Nutrition Stop has been St. Peter's trusted source for natural living. They've got a great, knowledgeable staff offering more than just products. They provide guidance on your wellness journey with exceptional service, from 100% grass-fed meats like elk and bison and local produce to quality supplements and clean household products. 4101 Mexico Road in St. Peter's, just off the interstate at Cave Springs and Highway 70.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump welcoming Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to the White House today. The de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia arrived this morning for his first White House visit since the 2018 killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi by Saudi agents. The House headed toward a vote sometime today on legislation to force the Justice Department to publicly release its files on the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. A victory for the Trump administration and Israelis today at the United Nations. That's where the Security Council has approved the president's plan to have a multinational board oversee peace and redevelopment inside of Gaza. We get more details from the BBC's Nada Tawfiq.
That the Board of Peace would be chaired by him and that its other members, the most powerful and respected leaders throughout the world, he said, would be named in the coming weeks. Under the resolution, the transitional board would oversee the reconstruction of Gaza and the delivery of humanitarian aid. The International Stabilization Force, or the ISF, would work with the Palestinian police force to achieve the demilitarization of Gaza. Russia and China did not exercise their vetoes, but abstained to let the resolution pass, largely because the Palestinian Authority and 8 other Arab and Muslim nations backed it.
That is BBC's Nada Tawfiq. China has reportedly funneled billions of dollars in hidden loans to U.S. companies over the past 25 years.
A Virginia-based research firm says some of the money targeted industries key to U.S. national security. The study by Aid Data says Chinese interests channeled as much as $200 billion through offshore shell companies in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and elsewhere in a way that masked the origins. The money was then used by Chinese companies to buy stakes in American businesses. Rich Thomason reporting.
On Wall Street, the Dow is off 341 points. More from townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice is get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-762-6565. That's 800-762-6565.
My name is Whitney Allen. I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ETHOS.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Now, most of us will stay dry the remainder of today. We are seeing some showers and thunderstorms developing to the east and northeast of the metropolitan St. Louis area, and there is a low risk that two of those storms could become severe, producing some hail, possibly even an isolated tornado. But again, that's primarily to the east of the immediate St. Louis area. So we'll watch that through this afternoon, but then it should dry up. It's going to be mild with a high near 70 and a high tomorrow near 60 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Careless in our summer clothes, splashing around in the muck
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Common Sense Radio, and it's the Allman Report. On News Talk STL, Jamie Allman here in Ashland there for you. I'm laughing because the absurdity in the way that our government operates is just there's nothing. Oh, it's a baby. Somebody has a baby on the house floor there, Ashland. Oh, like a baby in its PJs on somebody's lap. I was about to say, actually, that's actually antithetical to what I was just about to say, which is that these people in the government, they don't live anything like we do, which is why it's so surprising that the people we elect wind up so often being unlike any of us. So how does that happen? I'm trying to figure it out. Because they're just so different, and they don't operate by normal standards, and they accept things in processes that we would never accept, and we couldn't, because if we did, we'd never get anything done. It's why President Trump is so exhausting, because he's actually doing something all the time and fixing something and adjusting something and changing something and everything else. And that's why these guys get so mad about everything. It's like, damn it, he's making us work again. I mean, even the journalists are mad about it. Because they constantly have to be reporting on things. Like, they had a nice little vacation when we had a cadaver in the White House, when we had the grandma's skeleton in the attic, but now they constantly have to be, writing and doing things, and it's like the Congress has to keep on going along with the fixes and all this kind of stuff, and they liked it so much better when they just didn't have to do anything. And let me give you an example of how many of these individuals celebrate mediocrity. Like, mediocrity is the top achievement for a lot of these people in Washington. Like, to be mediocre in their mind is to be excellent. So mediocrity is translated to excellence in their mind. So Debbie Klobuchar, who's a senator from Minnesota, she actually put this tweet out today. And I kid you not. After 50 years, the final segment of Highway 610 is now open, connecting Maple Grove to I-94. I worked to secure funding for this highway, which means shorter commutes, faster emergency routes, and more opportunity. She's bragging about how it took 50 years for a highway to be built. 50 years. Now, granted, this highway, it does cross the Mississippi River into some of the northern suburbs of Minneapolis, whatever. So it does cross a river, but gee whiz. How many times, I was down in the Keys and everything. You should see the bridges that down there built over the ocean. Come on. But she is bragging, after 50 years. So to them, it doesn't occur to Debbie Klobuchar that she's admitting that it took half a century to build a federal highway. It's like, hey, Debbie, you realize 50 years is a long time. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it is. It's half a century, Debbie. Like you were 15 when it started. So here's how it worked. Because now it's done after 50 years, and it basically is useless because the traffic studies were done in the 70s. So basically, they built a highway based on traffic studies from the 1970s. And never adjusted the traffic studies, never did anything. So what they did was they had traffic studies that were done in the 70s. Then funding was secured in the 80s. So it took they did the traffic studies in the 70s. Then it took them 10 years to get the funding secured. And then acquisitions done in the 1990s. So another 10 years, I guess, to take properties and do whatever, And then you had construction beginning then in the 2000s. Phase 1 was done in the 2010s, and then they completed it now. And now it's a highway that is built on the basis of 50-year-old traffic studies. I mean, it's unbelievable how that could happen, and yet that's exactly what President Trump would. We should be. They should have asked him. He could have done that, I guess. I mean, gee whiz. So it's not unlike, I think sometimes when people are just fat and happy, they don't struggle. They don't work hard. And when they're using somebody else's money, it's like, we'll get around to it, whatever. I mean, I know it would be safer and more convenient and everything. There's a little baby again. Oh, safer and more convenient for them to build it, but we'll give it time. We've got the money, whatever. I mean, there are people who, like the people who did the traffic studies, are probably dead. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But when you're fat and happy, and you don't have to struggle, then you invariably don't work hard. That's how it works. I mean, and that's why, and actually President Trump behaves in a manner very unlike somebody who is as accomplished as he is. There are people who haven't accomplished nearly as much as he has, who are just basically thinking that they're done and they don't need to do anything more. It's kind of like people who brag about, being around a long time when none of that really has been manifested in any kind of achievement. Well, I've been doing this for 35, 40 years. It's like, and what do you have to show for it? Nope, nothing. I'm like, okay, well then there you go. Except you're bragging about you've been around a long time. That's kind of how it's kind of like the syndrome that you have when senators like, I've been in the Senate for 46 years. It's like, you should be embarrassed. You should be committing Harry. You should apologize to your family that you've been in the U.S. Senate for 46 years and your grandkids. Well, I've been doing this for 40. It's like, honestly, crazy. So anyway, it's in all sectors of our life, though, like the Cardinals, for instance. So Tim Jones, my buddy here at News Talk STL, sent this along to me. It came from What It Means. Dave Drebs put this together, and Tim thought I would be interested in this, and I am, because I've talked about the Cardinals and attendance and how they have taken advantage and for granted all the people who have loved them. And I'm looking at the numbers here and seeing attendance numbers. The average per day attendance from 2025 versus 2024 is down 7,700 7,754 people per game. Attendance at Cardinals games down 7,750 people per game. No other team in Major League Baseball had that drop, that size of a drop. No other team. There was, out of 82 home games, one sold-out game. And I don't know what that was. Maybe some of you might know what that was. And if you also base that 7,750 people per game attendance drop, and then you go to 82 home games in a season, that's a total of 635,500 fewer trips to the ballpark on the part of people in the St. Louis area. So, and if you see this as, well, that's proof that the Cardinals didn't really commit to quality. They didn't commit to having a winning season. They didn't commit to entertaining people. As I said before, they think that, well, I know, we'll just have a hot dog and an ice cream cone that we can pour barbecue sauce on. That'll bring them in. It's like, no, because it's $15. So it's like, and then, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll tell these rubes that their favorite Yadier Molina is going to be in the dugout. That'll bring people. These people will fall for anything. And it's like, that didn't work either. To bring in, kind of like a, instead of giving away a bobblehead, it's like a real life bobblehead of Yachty in the dugout. It's like, that's supposed to be entertaining to us and draw us to the ballpark. And then, and so here's the problem, though, when you have that big of a drop in attendance and that big of a problem, is that you're not then getting in on this. Oh, they're counting the votes, by the way, on the release of the Epstein files. So I'll let you know as soon as we get those numbers in. But they are counting the votes now, and so we'll have one. Once that happens, Speaker Johnson will have something to say, and so I'll make sure we go ahead and take whatever those developments are live for you. But anyway, so what happens is with the attendance levels down that far, your team is not making as much money as some of the other teams. So what happens is it gives you the perpetual poverty that's not going to allow you to go and buy great players that you need to have a winning season, that you need to have to bring people to the ballpark. So it is a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point now that since they didn't make any money, they lost so much money this year that they probably can't afford to get better talent so that they can improve the team, so they can win and get people to the ballpark. So that's a nice little trap these guys have built for themselves. All right. The votes are being counted, and we'll pop in live to get whatever is going on. We've got about 13 minutes remaining for the vote, so we'll be on it for you here at the Allman Report on News Talk STL, the 3 Martini Lunch. Oh, Chris, thank you. It's unbelievable what he just pointed out. He said the Cardinals actually only played 81 home games. The Savannah Bananas were the sold-out game. And they're awesome anyway, but so yeah. It wasn't even the Cardinals that sold the game out. It was A comedy team. Thanks, Christopher Slater. Appreciate you, man. Time almost. And then we'll have more, of course, the daily dump of the Epstein file names and stuff. Be a fun afternoon to stay plugged in to Tony Colombo and Tim Jones and Christopher Arps, too. It's Common Sense Radio.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, Clayton Sleep and Dr. Ogile, it's really super important, my friends, to make sure that you have honestly, a really good night's sleep. And there are some people, just simply getting 8 hours is great, 7 hours, whatever. But the reality is you have to get it so that it's quality sleep. So there are a lot of people who might go, I'll just stay up till 2 a.m. and then I'll wake up at 11. That's like, or 10 or whatever. That's not really necessarily going to help you because of all the activity that's going on by the time morning comes around. So the key really to a good sleep, and Dr. Ogile will tell you this, would be not sleeping pills or whatever, but to sleep when everybody else is sleeping. That's always a better deal and always helps you out. And allows you to get up in the morning, maybe more productive and that kind of thing. So at the Clayton Sleep Institute, there are 2 ways that you can be helped. They've got the clinics, which are really great. They're super comfortable. They're like boutique hotels. You guys have heard me say before that sometimes when I go and take a tour, which I oftentimes will do, I want to crawl into one of the beds there and sleep. It's so comfortable and cozy, But he can also do the consultation for you. And so he can talk to you like, what's going on? What are you doing? What's your schedule like? When are you waking up? When are you going to bed? Blah, blah, and create patterns for you that will maybe even dampen the effects of the sleep apnea. And he does have the CPAP and he does have the mouth guards. He does have ways for you to do that, but he wants to help you do it more naturally too. And then you also calms down the restless legs that are waking you up all the time. And it even helps you on the insomnia end as well. So habits and processes and life changes and things like that are all part of the process. Dr. Ogile is an expert worldwide in the field of sleep. ClaytonSleep.com. He's a longtime supporter of free common sense conservative radio for 20 years now. ClaytonSleep.com. That's ClaytonSleep.com.
Hi, it's Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the largest RE/MAX franchise in the region. The summer housing market is hot, and the fall market looks to be as hot. If buying or selling a home is in your future, it is time to act now. Someday is not a day on the calendar, but today is. Call me, Mark Harder, for fast results. RE/MAX Results, 314-852-8933, 314-852-8933, and start packing.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Here's my problem.
Completely agree with your sentiments.
He talks about we're divided. Well, yeah, we are. And we need to wake up as a country and realize what's going on.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
There must be something in the water, and there must be something about your daughter. She said, I love you nothing but a monster. My love ain't nothing but a monster with 2 heads.
Do you know there's a 2-ingredient recipe that's threatening Big Pharma's billion-dollar profits because it can fight dementia?
Butter is not butter is not butter. This
You all I see. I love a monster with 2 heads and 1 heartbeat.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Super happy to be with you. So we are still waiting for the votes to come in. Right now, the yeas are 68 on the Republican side, 67 on the Democrat side. We still have more than 300 votes that are still to be counted, or 297, I should say, on the release of the Epstein files. Can't wait to find out like who votes no, you know, if there's anybody who would dare do that. I still haven't checked in on the whole Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump thing. Apparently she was offering an olive branch on Fox News today, so I've checked in with Brian Glenn to see if she could come on the show or do whatever, but we'll see how it goes. Some fireworks, though, at the Saudi Crown Prince visit, and it came through the news media at ABC, and I know that there's a lot of people. I don't know. I think, you know, there's people are interviewing the 9/11 families. It's like, how dare you have the Saudi Arabian guy? And I get it, you know, and Qatar and all this. People are worried about the airplane at Qatar, and you know how dastardly the Arabs can be, and all that kind of thing. And so, you know, I'm conflicted on it a little bit. I think that ultimately, at some point, something does need to change, and something does need to advance. I'll never forget when President Trump went to the Middle East and did the speech to the Muslim world, and he said, you know, you guys have really added a lot to the world in terms of your culture, your art, all kinds of things. And you don't want it to be ruined by terrorism and by jihadis and things like that. You have a vested interest in clearing the decks of the bad people in your midst. And that will not only secure prosperity for you, but also safety for your own people, because the jihadis are killing Arabs too. And so when I see this, I don't automatically think of 9/11. I think of maybe even helping to prevent a 9/11 in the future by establishing relationships with people. And, you know, we still have issues regarding even that journalist who was murdered, all this kind of stuff. But perhaps we get to a further place by, instead of continuing to isolate Arabs and things like that, that we create a situation where we can actually tame them to a degree that future generations of Arabs are not flying airplanes into World Trade Centers. So I'm looking at it, maybe that's Pollyannish of me, and maybe that's something that people will say, well, you're just kind of whitewashing what's going on. Well, maybe. But in the end, keep in mind also what has happened with President Trump. And I trust his instincts on this. So President Trump, by the way, what's worse? What is more of a safety hazard for Americans in the world as it relates to Arabs? Having us dependent on their oil. You remember when Cadaver was in office, this irresponsible white trash, Joe Biden. Remember when that was the first time I had heard the term OPEC in a decade. Because when President Trump was elected in 2016, our having to kiss these robes of these dirty Arabs for oil were gone within 2 years. And the minute Biden stole the election, he was back in, and suddenly we're back to kissing ass for OPEC and getting oil. Well, President Trump has since changed that, and in many ways has greatly reduced the Arab swagger in the world, which I think also greatly reduces their threat. And so I trust his instincts on this. I mean, the enemies of the people more than anything else would be like this journalist from ABC News who decided to scream and shout, and President Trump would have none of it.
Appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president, is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office.
Who are you with?
Why should Americans trust
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Just you ask Mr. President, allow me to answer.
Yeah, and now he's going to be able to answer. So this journalist from ABC is basically accusing this guy of murdering somebody right there in the Oval Office. And the facts that she's using as a presentation for her is some report, but there's no factual basis on which to prove that this guy orchestrated the murder of Khashoggi. But that doesn't stop her from right there in the Oval Office, basically accusing the guy of murder. And President Trump defended him, and then the Crown Prince chimed in.
I feel painful about the families of 9/11 in America, but we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose: is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose.
So what he's saying, it's kind of hard to hear. And this is about the Saudi role in 9/11. So what he's saying is that bin Laden did this, obviously on purpose. We have one nay vote from the Democrats on the release of the Epstein files. That's interesting. We'll find out who that is. So he was saying that bin Laden actually used Saudis in his attack for the express purpose of destroying the U.S.-Saudi relations, because bin Laden was a jihadist. His sole key was not peace. It wasn't anything of that nature. It was always to be disruptive and not have positive relations with the United States of America. So the further he was able to damage the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. through this, the better off he would be, and certainly the more powerful he would be. So that's what this Crown Prince is talking about.
Of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia is bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism, and we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism.
So, I mean, President Trump has already achieved something that really no other president has been able to achieve, unless I am mistaken. But I have not heard a Saudi member of the royal family publicly declare that they are fighting extremism. that they are fighting terrorism. And so, you know, I mean, it's astounding to me what President Trump has been able to pull off here. And that is that he's been able to get a guy from the Saudi royal family to sit down in the Oval Office and talk about how he's fighting extremism and everything else. It's pretty amazing.
About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or nothing illegal way. And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I mean, she was disrespectful, but at least they gave an answer to the question, which again, President Trump is always so open about this kind of stuff. And I think he's a great teacher of this Saudi crown prince who was just kind of going on and on in ways that I really am not used to as an American. All right. So the releasing of some Democrat has changed their vote. They must have accidentally voted no, because the no vote isn't there anymore. So we're monitoring this. 36 more votes need to be cast. 35 now. 201 Republicans, yay. 197 Democrats, yay. And there's one Republican nay now. So I'm gonna take a break here. I'm going to come back to this. Also have a special guest in the house as well, because he's one of the brand new sponsors of the Allman Report here on News Talk STL. And by the time we get back, it looks like we'll probably have a more accurate vote total of what is going on the House floor as the vote to release the Epstein files wraps up. It's Common Sense Radio.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that, because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Colombo and Company.
Donald Trump could be filing a lawsuit against the BBC, and the Supreme Court says they'll look into asylum processing procedures at the border. We'll discuss Tuesday with legal expert Susie Moore plus Crane Durham.
Live and local weekdays at 2
On News Talk STL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
When I think of heaven, never me in a black winged bird. I think of flying down in New
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. So looks like we have one no vote on the release of the Epstein files, and it's a Republican. Before we had one that was a Democrat, and that disappeared, so that person either made a mistake or did whatever. 7 votes left. I don't know what's taking these people so long. And we have a total of 425 votes in favor of releasing 214 Republican, 211 Democrat, and 1 nay vote from a Republican. I wonder who that is and what they're thinking, but that's all right. Figure it out. Probably because their name is in there. I don't know. So we'll keep you posted. 5 more votes, and we'll keep you posted. But I want to make sure I get to one of my heroes, one of my longtime friend, and now at one point a sponsor of my show a long time ago. And of course, I've used him before, and I'm going to have to use him again. Get these things I thought were ladybugs, and they're actually Asian beetles, and they're driving my girls nuts. I've had to vacuum them off of the ceiling. So anyway, Noel Buckingham Pest Control is one of my brand new supporters here and supporter of free, common sense, conservative radio. Noel Buckingham, how you doing, brother?
Doing fantastic, Jamie. How you doing?
Good to see you, bud.
Absolutely. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you guys have really grown, and it's been 20 years since we first met each other, even a little bit more. Was that when the business was just starting, or you've been in for a while, right?
Yeah, I've been in business 31 years,
Okay.
but that was probably 20 or 25 years ago. It's early on.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really cool, and that is this. I didn't even know this existed. So right now, it's not just pest control, but there's also an element of insulation service that you can get with Buckingham Pest Control. And this is not only insulation is thermally superior to the other insulations out there, acoustically superior to the other installations out there, but miraculously, it has pest control in it.
Yes, sir.
How does that work?
It's a specialized borate treatment that they add to the insulation itself. So you have to be a licensed pest control company to offer it. So, which obviously we are. So, and we do offer regular cellulose. The tap is a little bit more expensive, but not astronomically.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants pest control with their insulation, that's the way to go. But we do offer both.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I would imagine it's helpful not only with termites, but also with the larger pests, squirrels, bats.
Not so much with animals. It's
Oh.
Pest control is always designed to kill by weight.
Okay.
So it's always going to be small stuff. But think your Asian lady beetles, your stink bugs, your
Yeah.
brown recluse is a big one. Just basic wasp that make it into your attic. Anything that would make it into your attic, pest wise.
Yeah.
It'll take care of that.
Okay. Well, you know what's interesting about that is especially the brown recluse, because I thought that it was a thing in St. Louis. Like brown recluse spiders are seemingly all over the place in St. Louis, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My house, we bought a house out in St. Charles 10, 12 years ago, totally infested with brown recluse. And they had cleaned it up so well, I didn't see a thing when I did my walkthroughs and things like that.
Wow.
A couple weeks later, boom.
Yeah, right. So when it comes to the pest control installation, keep in mind too that there is kind of a call to action on this, because there is a tax credit, but that's only until the end of the first year, end of the year, correct?
Correct. December 31st, the federal tax credit goes away. But I did just find out, you don't even know this one yet. Spire is apparently offering a rebate also. So until the 31st of December, you can double dip on the Spire rebate and the federal tax credit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just found that out over the weekend.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is now, can you guys, and how fast can you get it in? And if somebody wants it, it's not a matter, it's just a matter of purchasing it before the 31st, not necessarily installing it.
It has to be installed.
Oh, it has to be installed. Okay.
Correct.
So you're going to be busy.
Yeah, we're absolutely fantastic at this. We can typically have somebody out to the house within a day or two, 3, and then install within a week. typically.
Wow. Okay. All right. Sorry to drag you into this real quick, Noel Buckingham. I'm gonna go right to this broadcast here so we can see that the House did just approve the release of the Epstein files.
State that they are from. We're going to work to get some other information up there on your screen. Here we go. It's from the representative. I'm going to read it out for you. We just got this up on your screen. This is from his X account saying, I have been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with
So
the
that's
bill
Clay
3 months
Higgins.
ago
He's
is
the
still
Republican
wrong today.
who voted no.
It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Not by my vote. The Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes back to the House.
So that's basically the reason this Clay Higgins guy voted no on it. So basically now we're in the first phase of this. It's on the Senate. Senate will do whatever it needs to do, and then there'll be ultimately a final vote and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, it still will be quite an active late afternoon on this. The files are not necessarily going to be just left out on the Capitol steps. I mean, there's going to be a lot that still goes into it, but gradually there's going to be a lot that will be released by a lot of people with varying motivations in releasing it. So just pay attention. Tony will have all that for you, and Columbo and Company. And then, of course, Christopher Arps and Tim Jones will have it for you as well as this stuff goes down. Noel Buckingham, BuckinghamPestControl.com. Buddy, listen, so these Asian beetles, like, it was so crazy because I told this story about how I was in my Jeep, then I was in the house, and I was like, oh, ladybugs, and my mom had passed away a month before. I'm thinking, oh, my mom must be sending it, like, because ladybugs are good luck and blah, blah, blah. And then I put this post up on Facebook, like, and all this kind of dreamy, idealized, romanticizing of these ladybugs. And somebody came in, like, 2 comments, like, within seconds, were like, those are Asian beetles. They're disgusting. And if you smash one, all you're going to do is attract thousands more. And I had to delete my post. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could do a good Trump impersonation. The China beetles.
Yeah, right, exactly. But where'd they come from? Because it's weird how cyclical this is. I had the same problem last year, and I didn't have it this year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, where I had my garden and I had all these
stink bugs,
beetles. I had to put in one of these bag traps in my yard to attract these. I guess were they stink bugs or beetles
in the summertime? Or
yeah, summertime.
Yeah, summertime. Those are the Japanese beetles.
Okay.
They have the pheromone bags. You can get it at the box stores, things like that. But yeah, these are Asian lady beetles. They were really bad about 20 years ago by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And then they kind of got better. The last 5 or 6 years have been stink bugs. Every fall, stink bug. And it's all like cyclical is the right word. It's cyclical. This year it was the Asian lady beetles are back.
Yeah. And the other thing too, and I guess especially as we head into winter and everything else, you've got a lot of different pests. Basically, it's like these Asian ladybugs or whatever they are. They're doing is seeking warmth, and so now's the time for all these things to kind of start coming in and taking root in your house.
Yeah, the trick to the Asian lady beetles is actually treating in advance, because once they come out, no pest control company can stop them from landing on your house.
Yeah.
But if you had treated the house, days before, weeks before, now that there's something waiting for them.
Yeah.
So they will die off. It'll minimize what's actually getting behind your siding, into your attic. What we see as a nice solid house, there's a lot of gaps everywhere behind your siding, They had to make a hole in your house to put in windows and doors. There's gaps there.
Yeah.
They can find their way in anywhere, and they'll be coming out all winter long looking for the warm spot.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because the pest control industry, ever since you started 30 years ago, has really transformed and changed. And so a lot of times, a company like yours is kind of fighting some of these other places that are kind of like they come in, land in some city or whatever they're doing, and they're selling these subscriptions and all these these kinds of things. And so you guys sometimes have to talk people off the ledge, because some people in this industry have not helped you guys who are the trustworthy ones. And so you have to sometimes kind of talk to people about, no, this is a reality. This is what it costs. Doesn't it cost that kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah. We recommend a quarterly service, just like most companies. We don't force people to sign contracts or service agreements, whatever you want to call them. You can do it one time, you can do it quarterly, but we do try to make sure the customers understand that the chemicals are designed to break down over a 90-day period. So once you get beyond that 90 days, it's just waiting the treatment's waiting to collapse, I guess would be a good way to phrase that. That's why we recommend, hey, even if you're not having the problem, just do it quarterly. We'll spray the outside every quarter, and it's going to stop 99% from getting into the house.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely having you guys out this time around. I'm also having it for winter. I'm also having you guys out in the spring because of my pool. And I got to tell you, honestly, I really don't like spraying chemicals on myself. So, I went through a bunch of cans of Deep Woods Off, and I'm thinking, no, this isn't because I still need it, but I need to have, but you can do a yard treatment for mosquitoes that takes all that whole spray thing on your skin out.
Correct. We do a monthly mosquito treatment. A lot of companies are trying to do the every 3 weeks, so they get an extra application or two in. We still do it the best way, the right way. We power spray it once a month, April through September, October, depending on the weather. And once again, no contract, no service agreement. If you don't think it's working, cancel it. But we do have people call back, month and a half later going, oh my God, get back out here because it must have been working.
Yeah, right.
So yeah,
right.
We're honest with people. We don't say, hey, you'll never see anything. There's no force field, but it will help drastically.
Yeah.
And if you don't think it's working, just cancel. And we don't want to force anybody to do anything. We want to provide a very good pest control service being the key word.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is a lot of people really want to get people on the hook. And I think that's why you get sometimes people saying no to things, because they think they're going to be on the hook for this, or they're going to be trapped in this or whatever. And so a lot of times you just have to kind of, unravel some of the stuff that other people have tied up in pest control.
Yeah, because other companies, it's not uncommon to hear, oh my gosh, it's a $300, $400 cancellation fee. We're not doing that stuff. If you don't think it's working, you don't think we're providing a good service, you should have the right to cancel. But I still service my first residential and my first commercial customer from 31 years ago.
Wow, really?
I do.
Wow. That's pretty amazing, man. I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, thank you so much for your support of the radio show. It's great to have you back in. Super happy for you and how your business has grown. And thank you for sharing all that with us here on News Talk STL and the Allman Report. And folks, again, don't forget this tap insulation, which is thermally superior, acoustically superior, and also pest control. So it's TAP. That's where we get that. And this is insulation that'll work really super well for your home on those 3 levels. And as Noel pointed out, there are federal tax credits that are available through the end of the year. And then as Noel Buckingham just announced, Spire is also giving rebates on the insulation costs as well. Or the insulation job.
Correct.
So make sure you go to buckinghampestcontrol.com, buckinghampestcontrol.com, or you can blow up their phones right now. You get a free estimate, by the way, so don't worry about that. 636-274-7400, and thank them for supporting free common sense radio, and also know that they're the winner of several St. Louis Magazine A-list awards too. So that's pretty highfalutin there, buddy.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, given all the companies out there, it's really fabulous, and we're really proud to have you on the show and supporting the show. So Noel Buckingham, thank you so much. BuckinghamPestControl.com is where you're going to be able to get everything taken care of, because you're going to have plenty of things that want to sleep with you this winter. And they're not really the kinds of things you had in mind. So just so you know. And also make sure you're ready for spring and summer. Thank you, Buckingham Pest Control. Noel, have a great rest of your day, man.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie.
Ashland, thank you so much for everything. Columbo and Company, straight ahead. He'll fill you in on all the skinny on the Epstein file release and the vote and all that kind of stuff. Ashland, thank you so much. You guys, thank you for listening to the show. Have a most blessed rest of your day. Really appreciate your support of the Allman Report here on News Talk STL. Did I get out early? How did that happen? I was saying, I don't know. I was just, I thought I was in that 5650 mode, but it was 5750. So thank you, Ash. She was like, should I just play the music or what should I do? I'm like, I don't know. It happens every once in a while. I'm not in a hurry to get out of here. I'm not doing anything after this. So whatever it happens to be, you guys have a good rest of your day. It's Common Sense Radio.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't